I think that Diddy is literally spiraling at this point. We have one of his attorneys quitting. Wonder why that is. We're going to talk about it and what's this secretive language that he is using and letting us know that he is quitting Diddy. I have my thoughts. And I'm gonna let y'all give me your thoughts and let me know why y'all think that Diddy's attorney quit him. Not only did he have an attorney quit on him, he is also filing a motion to dismiss one of the counts against him. And I have to say, the reasoning and like his justification to why he wants this case or this count dismissed is pretty hilarious when you think about what his main focus on. He thinks that people are mad at him for hiring male escorts, and he thinks that they are only going after him instead of other people like, other white men, because he's black. So we got Diddy pulling the race card again. Remember, he did that earlier in the case. Now he's doing it yet again, saying that he is only being looked at funny because he's a black man hiring male escorts to let his girlfriend sleep with them in front of him. All right, Diddy, yeah, we believe you there. And then the last thing, he is looking for a motion to suppress evidence. And the evidence that he's looking to suppress is pretty much all of the evidence that the prosecution has obtained so far. Now, he's saying that there are some other warrants that he's not asking to suppress. But when you look at the list of all the warrants that he's asking to suppress, it sounds like he's asking to suppress every single warrant that the government potentially had. So we're going to jump off into this Diddy nonsense. It's getting bad. He's spiraling. He is grasping for straws, in my opinion. And y'all got to let me know throughout the live stream what y'all think. And if y'all watching on the replay, go ahead and let me know in the comments what y'all think. Make sure y'all are hitting the like button. And if you're on the replay, we do have timestamps down below, so long as you come like an hour or so after the live stream. So let's jump right into the first mess of what's going on. And that is Diddy losing an attorney before the case even goes to trial. So let's see. And if y'all could recall, we had one case that we've covered on this channel where she kept losing attorneys, and her attorneys kept needing to file motions in order to get rid of her. So if y'all remember what case I'm talking about, make sure y'all are going ahead and commenting it and dropping it in the chat. And if you're on the replay, putting it in the comment section, and I'm gonna let y'all know what it is. I'm gonna give you a hint. There were 9 attorneys, and I think she ended up with about 10 attorneys by the time we got to the end. And we got Kimmy Lager, Sarah Boone. Yes, Sarah Boone kept having her attorneys file motions to be relieved. Now, I'm going to make my thoughts and my assumptions, and I could be wrong because I don't practice in the New York courts. However, when you are needing to file a motion to withdraw, it is usually because your client is not agreeing for you to withdraw. And if an attorney is wanting to withdraw and the client is not agreeing for them to withdraw, it's normally because the client is doing something that the attorney doesn't want to deal with, does not want under his name. Now, the attorney that is withdrawing from Diddy's case, wait, let me go. I got to get myself together, live streaming. You know how it is. Anthony Riccor. I don't know much about Anthony Riccor, but the things that have come across my timelines lately is that he pretty much represents the worst of the worst. And his drawing the line is Diddy. And when I'm saying the worst of the worst, we're talking about death row criminals. We're talking about him appealing people that were on death row, right? There's some other sketchy cases, in my opinion, sketchy cases. That's why I don't do criminal, because you do have to defend against stuff that is sketchy, and you do have to put your client's best interest first. But he's defended against a bunch of sketchy stuff, and he's drawing his line at Diddy. And I'm gonna give y'all my reasoning onto why I think he's drawing the line at Diddy. And a part of it, I'm gonna give you a little hint. It's probably because Diddy is asking him to do some stuff that he is not. He's defended against a bunch of sketchy stuff, and he's drawing his line. Oh gosh, I am streaming my own live stream apparently, because I had it and my phone decided it wanted to pick it up. So anyway, sorry about that, y'all. The sketchy stuff, he's probably pushing for his attorneys to do certain things, hence the things that we're about to cover, motions to dismiss count 3 and motions to suppress all the evidence in the case, pretty much. Yeah, sounds like Anthony Riccor does not agree with that stuff. So let's go ahead and see what he says and see if we can read between the lines as to why he no longer, the guy that represents people who unalive people, why he no longer wants to represent Diddy in a sex trafficking case, essentially. So let's go ahead and bring that up. So he lets us know that on September 22nd, 2024, he was retained by Diddy to serve as his counsel, and I have served as his counsel since that time. And let's not forget, Diddy does have multiple attorneys, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. As a result of being retained, a notice of appearance was filed in our court, in this court, on September 29th, 2024. So it's been about 5 months that he has been dealing with Diddy. This declaration is submitted in support of the annexed notice of motion for my withdrawal as counsel. As a reminder, under the local rules require that he files this affidavit as to why he doesn't want to be his attorney anymore. For the reasons set forth below, the motion for withdrawal is filed so that Sean Combs, Diddy, may move forward with his defense and to commence a jury selection and trial without any delay. Now, let's just be clear here. Diddy could have released this attorney, but he decided he wanted to go the route of his attorney filing a motion. I don't know about y'all, but Diddy, you are kind of under a microscope. Why would you draw this kind of attention to you? So let's go on. The reason to be relieved is after he discussed with Mark Agnifilio, I hope I'm saying that right, this motion for withdrawal for counsel was filed. So he talked to the lead attorney, and the lead attorney basically was like, yeah, you can go ahead and file the motion. While I am aware of the local rule, while I am aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supposed to be granted only upon a showing by affidavit or otherwise of satisfactory reasons for withdrawal, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege, meaning I'm not really going to tell y'all what the real reason is, but y'all can kind of read between the lines, right? For brevity in my application for the withdrawal of counsel in this case, although I have provided Sean Combs with a high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice. Now, I will say, although we don't know the exact reason, this is just my guess and my opinion as an attorney that has had to file motions to be relieved of my own. It is never, in my opinion, in my experience, it has never been because I had a great client. I am not filing a motion to be relieved as your counsel if you are a great client. Sometimes when these situations arise is if you don't have money to pay and you're just not communicating and not setting up a payment plan and things of that nature. Other reasons why you might withdraw is because your client is just not responding. I don't think the money thing is going to be an issue for Diddy. It sounds like he still has his money. He has 5 other attorneys. He's able to keep the case going. So I don't think the money thing is an issue. You have a client that's completely not communicating. Now, although we've heard that Diddy is allegedly on the phone 24/7 with everybody and anybody who will answer the phone, I guarantee you that Diddy is properly communicating with his attorneys. He's wanting them to pretty much put his case at the forefront of their life. So I don't think that they have a communication issue. The other issue is that your client don't listen, okay? And that's 9 times out of 10, that's what you're dealing with, is a client that doesn't listen or a client that is trying to put forth ridiculous strategies, ridiculous things, delaying, filing a bunch of motions in 1 week, i.e. maybe what's going on right here and why Anthony probably withdrew this week. And these are just my opinions, y'all, based on my experience of being an attorney. You are usually withdrawing if your client is the one being unreasonable or your client is not listening to you. You're either not listening or you're trying to push strategies that he cannot effectively do with having his oath to the bar. Okay? He has to be ethical. My assumption is that Diddy is either not listening or asking them to do things that are unethical. or they don't agree with the strategy, right? It doesn't have to be all the way unethical, but maybe he just doesn't agree with Affilio's, I don't know if that's how you say his name. Maybe he just doesn't agree with the lead attorney strategy. But if he doesn't agree with just the lead attorney strategy, why is Diddy not letting him go? Because Diddy knows that this attorney has a representation of winning cases for the worst of the worst. So let's jump back into it. Those are usually the reasons, in my opinion. This motion for withdrawal of counsel, if granted, will not result in a delay of the present schedule for the commencement of jury selection and trial, or the present schedules for briefing of pre-trial legal issues. As a result, there will be no lapse in representation, as Sean Combs will continue to be represented by 5 other attorneys of record. Hence why he filed so many motions last week. He has plenty of attorneys. He does not need me, okay? He does not need me. Without violating any aspect of the attorney-client privilege, I can't tell you the mess that Diddy be doing, allegedly, or otherwise providing any details whatsoever on the ground supporting the application. The government has been notified of the filing of the motion to withdraw as counsel. The government takes no position on the motion seeking withdrawal of counsel with Sean Combs. I'm assuming the conversation went something like, we can't choose our clients. Some clients are difficult. I can't help them. And the government is like, yeah, good luck with that. An attorney loves to say, good luck with that, buddy. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell you're dealing with someone. And these are just my opinions, my assumptions based on my own experience with clients that are not listening. You're going to get from the other attorney. Yeah, I know. Good luck with that. Okay. Wherefore, he respectfully, but regrettably, trying to save face, in my opinion, with the regrettably, requested that the court grant the relief requested in the annexed notice of motion and permit counsel Anthony Riccor to withdraw as attorney of record. So y'all let me know what y'all think the reason is why he went ahead and withdrew as an attorney. And I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, if you have a good client, you have a good relationship with your client, and you let your client know, like, hey, I don't agree with your position, you can have another attorney, just sign off on this paperwork and I won't be your attorney anymore. You can do that. And when you have to file the motion, is because your client is being a dick. 9 times out of 10 is because your client is the problem. 9 times out of 10. You got 5 other attorneys, and you want to tell me, Diddy, you couldn't sign off on him just leaving so you can deal with your 5 other attorneys? And not only that, he's not even the lead attorney. We got Mark whatever his name is, that keeps doing all these crazy filings. We got him as the lead attorney. So why couldn't you let go of Ricco, Anthony Riccor? Y'all let me know. Tanya D, Destin to Be says, I definitely think Diddy is a bad client. That's where I'm leaning. And that's off experience. That is where I'm leaning. Last person we seen having motions to be relieved filed against him was Sarah Boone. And she went through 9 attorneys. She was on her 10th attorney by the time she went to trial. Diddy already got 5 other attorneys. And this guy is trying to get up out of there. He doesn't even have to deal with Diddy by himself. And he still wanted to get up out of there. So I'm going to land on, I think Diddy is being a bad client. I think he is either not listening or pushing strategies that Anthony Riccor does not agree with. And clearly that Mark is going to follow because, money is money. But I would say, as an attorney, all money is not good money. But y'all let me know what y'all think. If you watch it on the replay, drop it in the comments. And if you're on live, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let's go ahead and jump over to the next thing that Diddy has going on. He had a busy week last week. There was something that the state filed, but I didn't really go into it. It was something like Diddy's trying to relitigate something, but I don't remember what it was. So we're not covering that today, but we are going to be covering his motion to dismiss count 3. Or should we do the motion to suppress first? I think we're going to do the motion to suppress first because it is pretty quick, because we're not going to read it. It's a lot of blacked out information and not letting us know like exactly what these witnesses said as to why they are asking to suppress the evidence. So let's go ahead and have Bossy B. Okay, let's jump over to Diddy's motion to suppress. So, as you all know, Diddy is in a criminal trial. Sorry, y'all. We got a banner. We need to. I think those ones are two different ones. Sorry, I'm trying to do banners when Kimmy's in the back, so I'll just let her do it. So, motion to suppress evidence we're talking about here. So, Diddy, as we all know, is in a criminal trial. And there were a bunch of raids, a bunch of search warrants against Diddy, including getting his cell phones, getting digital data from his house, searching his house, handcuffing his sons, which he still appears to be very angry about, okay? And they collected a lot of evidence that helps prove the prosecution's case. Well, Diddy has a problem with this, the evidence that they obtained against him, because you know what? It probably will prove the prosecution's case. But Diddy's reasoning as to why he doesn't agree with the evidence that was collected is because he's saying that the prosecution basically had some of this information already and didn't tell the court. He's basically saying it was overbroad and that they were searching for any and everything because the whole case is about Diddy's life. Diddy himself is the enterprise. That is Diddy's argument. So what he's asking to do, it's for the court to basically suppress, meaning that the prosecution cannot use any of the evidence that they found through the search warrants, because he's basically saying that the search warrants were not valid. And not only is he asking for that, in the alternative, he is asking for a frank hearing, essentially asking the prosecution to explain to the court and to explain to Diddy what information they knew at the time that they asked for the warrant and to determine whether that warrant was valid. This is what I am going to call classic Diddy behavior at this point. I forgot to turn off my light, so I have a lot of lights on in here. Sorry, y'all. Classic Diddy behavior. He wants a hearing for everything. He wants you to explain yourself to Diddy. I know Diddy is having a hard time in court, y'all. In jail and in court, because people don't have to answer to him in there. And in my opinion, I think he was used to having people answer to him. He's a celebrity. He's rich. He has money. He can get people to do whatever he wants them to do. Okay? And I think he's having a hard time that the prosecution does not have to drop at his every beck and call. And if you notice, every single motion that he files, he's like, they need to get rid of this information. They need to get rid of it. Or at the very least, they need to explain to me why they're using it. They need to explain to me their strategy. Like, why are we allowing them to get away with this? Okay? Why are we allowing them? Diddy is not okay. He's not okay, in my opinion. Hopefully he gets better in there, okay? So let's go ahead and look at the motion to suppress evidence. I'm not going to go through the memorandum and all the stuff because they all pretty much repeat the same thing. We're just going to jump right into the memo, and then I'm going to summarize, and then we're going to jump over to the motion to dismiss. And I'm telling y'all, the motion to dismiss is pretty funny, in my opinion. Maybe it's not funny to other people, but it's pretty funny. He focuses on weird things. So let's go ahead and see what Diddy has to say as to why the government should not be able to use the evidence that they have found in a bunch of the warrants that they have entered or they have gotten against Diddy. So the government has a duty of candor when it seeks warrants. Candor, they have to be honest, right? The nature of the proceeding mandates secrecy, so the process is not adversarial. Precisely the reason investigators have an obligation to present a fair picture of the evidence, including both inculpatory and exculpatory facts. While investigators need not present a magistrate with every bit of evidence they have discovered, they must nonetheless include a reasonably even-handed account, and they cannot omit critical exculpatory facts that might undermine a finding of probable cause. As the Second Circuit has instructed, investigators should include evidence if it is the kind of thing that a judge would wish to know in determining whether probable cause exists. And now I will have to say something about Diddy and these motions that he files. I feel like he misses the mark a lot in the motions that he filed. And I think this is another one where he misses the mark. And again, probably one of the reasons why Anthony Riccor decided he had to leave, because these motions that they're filing, while on their face may seem or are permissible to file, I think that he misses the mark a lot on it, of saying, oh, well, the judge would have wanted to know this information. Did he? Have you ever been a judge? Why? How do you know? How do you know? And I understand that it's up to the attorneys to argue it and know what the judges would want to know because they practice this all the time. But some of the stuff is just like, okay, like you're trying to be the judge to your own criminal case. But let's go ahead and jump back into it. The government in this case utterly failed to do so. It sought several warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, his electronic devices, and his person, and it presented a grossly distorted picture of the facts. It included only inculpatory facts and it excluded critically exculpatory evidence that was indisputably in its possession at the time. The government claimed victims were coerced into sex, but it failed to inform the magistrate that blank. So we can't even read it. And that's another thing about this case is a lot of the stuff is redacted because of the order of protection, right? So we don't even really know what he's saying, but he's getting enough words out to us to kind of give us a picture of like, this person's lying, that person's lying, they did this to me, they got this information from me, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what it says, which he's allowed to do because they have the protective order in place. But it kind of cherry picks, right? We're going to let you know what you need to know, in my opinion, in order to litigate this thing in the media, hence why we keep covering it. Okay. It has also failed to inform the magistrate that it possessed text messages between the alleged victims and Mr. Combs. The applications were intentionally misleading, which at a minimum requires a frank hearing. And again, it's what the magistrate would have wanted to know, not what Diddy wants the magistrate to know. Okay. And this is something that we run into as attorneys with clients. We think that everything, when it's your life, you think that everything in your life is important and they should have gave them this information and they would have decided with you. I don't know how many times that I get evidence from clients where they say, look, he was being abusive to me. Let's just go with abusive. Okay, what did he do that was abusive to you? Look at this video. And they played a video and the video goes, yeah, I don't really like that dress. How about you wear this one? Or how about we go buy you a new dress? He was abusing me because he told me that he didn't like the dress. But he also said he'll buy you a new one. So, and the tone is not mad and whatever it is. There's other things that come into place of whether someone is being abusive to you or mean to you or whatever it is. A lot of the times it's just like that person hurt your feelings. They're not necessarily abusing you. They just hurt your feelings. Now, of course, there's other cases where it is actual abuse, but you would be surprised with the evidence that come, or someone would say, well, my kid doesn't want to go and visit their dad. And then the kid is interviewed and they go, yeah, I do want to visit my dad. I just don't like when he makes me go to bed at 9:00. That's two different things. I don't want to visit my dad versus kid doesn't like to go to bed at 9:00. Kid needs to learn how to listen to rules, So this happens a lot. And I feel like this is where Diddy is. It's like, well, if I was a judge, I would have wanted to know that, because if I would have had that information, then I wouldn't have issued the warrant. The other thing is the judge would have wanted to know it, was part of the standard, but also that maybe the judge wouldn't have granted the warrant if they would have had that information. And just because they had the information that Diddy thinks they should have had does not necessarily mean that they wouldn't have granted the warrant. And that's why he's saying, I don't agree and they should get rid of this evidence, but also tell me why. Tell me why and what you knew when you knew it. He wants more information, okay? He should be focusing on the discovery and getting through that, but he's too busy filing motions. So the warrants themselves were also grossly overbroad. On a theory that Mr. Combs' entire life was a criminal enterprise, the government sought virtually limitless authority to seize any evidence related to the enterprise, all his digital devices, and the information they contain, all information in his iCloud accounts, plus troves of records and items in his house, almost none of which was contraband. They cite a case where Judge Nathan found similar warrants unconstitutional. Here, the government obtained authority to rummage at will among Mr. Combs' private effects. Perhaps most troubling, the government received essentially limitless authority to search Mr. Combs' devices, which contained a vast trove of personal information. The Supreme Court and Second Circuit have repeatedly warned that it is especially important that digital device searches must be limited and particularized. The warrants here were not. The warrants were thus unconstitutional general warrants, and the evidence obtained through those warrants must be suppressed. So please do not use the information Every single information that you found out so far, essentially Diddy is asking them not to use. Essentially, only use the evidence that you received directly from the victims by permission. Anything you got from me, yeah, to Diddy, anything you got from him, you can't use. Diddy, I think we're missing the mark here. I'm gonna go through the factual allegations to kind of get which of the warrants he's going against, which is pretty much everything the public knows about. I don't know what other warrants they would have had or the other permission, but everything that the public knows about is essentially what he's asking to be suppressed. So let's see. During this investigation, the government executed numerous search warrants. On January 4, 2024, it received a warrant to obtain all information in Combs' iCloud accounts. On March 22, 2024, it received 2 warrants to search Combs' residence in Los Angeles and Miami. Both applications were based on substantially identical affidavits sworn by IHS, Homeland Security? Yeah, Homeland Security. Special Agent Sean Quinn. 3 days later, on March 25th, the government obtained an additional warrant to search Combs' person and to seize and search 2 of his cell phones. The warrant sought to obtain evidence related to possible crimes of racketeering, sex trafficking, and obstruction of justice. The list of items to be seized at the residences was incredibly broad, spanning pages and including, among other categories, all digital devices found within the residences. The list of information to be obtained from the devices were similarly broad, and we'll go over what was in that list in just a little bit. But as detailed below, the warrant application presented a grossly distorted picture of reality. The government had in its possession, for example, a variety of evidence, including blank. We don't know what it was. What was the evidence? They were text messages from Cassie, allegedly, suggesting victim one's participation in the alleged freak-offs was voluntary and consensual, not coerced, as the government suggested in the application. Remember, he has already made this argument that the videos, Cassie had some on her phone and she looked like she was having fun. According to Diddy, she looked like she was having fun. Yeah, this is the person accusing you of abusing them. So are we not going to wait to get evidence to say, okay, well, if I pouted during it, he would tie me in a closet for 3 hours. Yeah, I'm going to act like I'm having fun too. Like, these kind of things are going to have to come out. But according to Diddy, it looked like she was having fun. It was recorded on her phone, or she had a copy on her phone. So she must have enjoyed it. Yeah. Everyone doesn't think like you, buddy. Just like the magistrate probably doesn't think like you. So suggested victim one's participation was voluntary and consensual, not coerced, as the government suggested and the application. The other thing about this Diddy, the videos suggest that she's having a good time, according to Diddy. How do you know her interview didn't say I wasn't having a good time, and if I didn't pretend like I was having a good time, he's going to lock me in a closet for 24 hours, and I don't really like being locked in the closet for 24 hours. Yeah. So what it depicts is not always reality. So let's go on. The government claims blank was based primarily on statements from producer one, an utterly unreliable witness whose claims were contradicted by other evidence that the government failed to mention. Again, I'm pretty sure this is talking about Rodney Jones. At this point, every time he's mentioned in one of these filings, I just feel like he hates him at this point. And the government's obstruction allegations were based largely on text and statements taken out of context, a critical part of the context being blank, which we don't know what the critical part of the context is. The affiant also failed to mention that nearly every witness that he interviewed had blank, given them a financial motive to fabricate or embellish. Now, what is he referring to? He is saying pretty much every witness that the prosecution had also had a case against Diddy that they were seeking to file against him. The probable cause statements were intentionally misleading, but it worked. The government got its warrants, leaked damaging information, and then executed its military-style raids at Combs' residences. Through this duplicity, the government obtained evidence, including multiple electronic devices with an enormous amount of information about his entire life and an enormous unfair tactical advantage. It continued to press its advantage, obtaining an indictment and multiple additional warrants, which were also incredibly broad. So he goes on to say that the warrants were not right because they did not include the exculpatory evidence in addition to the inculpatory. So, right, inculpatory, the things that make him guilty. But these witnesses, according to Diddy, also said things that would make him not guilty. For instance, they had videos directly from Cassie's phone, which in Diddy's opinion, Cassie looked happy in the video. She was enjoying it. She was voluntarily participating in these freak offs. She didn't look drugged, whatever the heck that means. So there's no way he could have been assaulting her, and she was consenting the entire time, right? This was not an abusive relationship. No, he never actually comes out and says it wasn't an abusive relationship. He just says that she consented at that moment. And for most adults, we know that there is a such thing called, coercive control and also sexual abuse. And potentially she could have been participating in order not to get physically abused. So other things come into play other than what people look like. Another thing that they say was exculpatory was some things that the witnesses said. So he thinks that the evidence that they got from Cassie, the government should have told the judge, hey, we have this video from Cassie, but we want to get, other videos from Diddy to see whether she looked a little unhappy in some of the videos that Diddy may have, or something of that nature is what he wanted to put in there. As far as producer one, I'm assuming they're talking about Rodney Jones, and that saying all of his statements have been contradicted. We read this in what document were we reading the other week, where they said there were 30-year-old women that basically contradicted it and said there was no minor children or no people that looked like minors. But are we really checking IDs and birth certificates at these Diddy parties? No, I don't know. And so he basically said that the witnesses that they interviewed, in addition to that, were not credible because they had these financial motives. Cassie had a lawsuit filed. Rodney had a lawsuit filed. They're talking about an assistant that potentially had a lawsuit filed, and a sex worker actually that had a lawsuit filed, and maybe have made some statements that have been inconsistent. Again, these are all things that you are proven on the stand, not necessarily saying that the prosecution needs to battle their own evidence before they file for a warrant. And Diddy is basically saying, like, they should have let the court know what facts went against them. But again, maybe the prosecution didn't consider those facts as going against them. Like I said, Diddy said she looked happy in the videos. The prosecution can have a completely different interpretation of what's going on. Hence why they're probably not giving him access to the video so that they don't accidentally get leaked, right? Like, will we be surprised if Diddy got his hands on those videos and they got leaked? I would not be surprised. And then the financial motive of having lawsuits against him. The other thing that they said, that the warrant was overbroad, and they basically let the government asked the court to basically be able to look into everything that had to do with Diddy, because Diddy is alleging that the prosecution is alleging that the whole Ricco, the whole enterprise is Diddy himself, right? He is everything, and that's who they're going after. And they give some examples of the types of things that were in the warrant. If I can find it, I will read it to you. It's so far down, though. Let's get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are the type of things that were listed in the government's list in these warrants. So evidence of Mr. Combs' location or anything reflecting the location of any co-conspirator or witness, which according to the government seems to mean anyone who ever worked for Combs or went to a party, because Combs was having all the parties. and they get a little sarcastic in these lists. Utility bills, mail, correspondence, address books. I don't know why they need his utility bills, his mail, his correspondence, or his address books. I'm very interested in why they need that information. All calendars and scheduling information, including travel records. That makes sense to me because they're saying that he was traveling across state lines in order to, do the do. And then we have all financial records, including bank statements and credit card statements. Also, all cash, property. Well, I don't know why y'all cash, because y'all saying he committing crimes and selling drugs and stuff like that. Okay. Property deeds or titles or anything related to property ownership, plus any evidence relating to online financial accounts, any sex toys, sexually suggestive clothing, whatever that means is what Diddy's attorney wrote in there, plus any medical supplies or other materials possibly related to sex, plus any bodily fluid or other material that might contain DNA evidence. What? Ew. Why do you guys want the sex toys? What are the sex toys gonna prove? That he's a freaky man? What is that gonna prove? Oh my gosh. In the clothing? It's stuff that could contain bodily fluid. You want people undies? Oh my gosh. What? That is a bit broad. That is a bit reaching, but also with the nature of the crimes they're accusing him of, there are sexual. But I would hate to be the handler of the sex toy evidence. I don't want to hold the sex toy evidence. Oh my gosh. Any communication or record of communication with any former sexual partner or employee of the Combs business, plus any communication related to the charged offenses, which was, as noted, defined incredibly broadly, with any possible victim, co-conspirators, or witnesses. So anyone that knew Diddy is essentially what the defense is arguing. They're going after. Corporate records, including corporate organizational and ownership documents and employment records, any digital device that might contain evidence, including phones, computers, iPads, and cameras. And that's fine. They can go through those type of devices, but what they're looking for should be limited. I do agree with them on that, is that potentially they can limit the type of stuff that they're going after if they find that it was overly broad. I don't see the court really suppressing all of the evidence, because what are we? I mean, if that happens, then yeah, we're going to be looking at a case being dismissed. But is the federal court going to do that in such charges against Diddy? No. Do I think that he's missing the mark on the type of details that were supposed to be in the warrant? Yes. I think that warrants can be pretty vague, although they need probable cause. I do not think they need to be exactly descriptive as what Diddy is indicating. But to the extent that they are going into his devices, his computer and his phones and things of that nature, it does seem like that should have a little bit more of some parameters on there, so that they're not going into, his meal plan and things. And meal plans might come into play, because didn't he throw somebody's sandwich on the floor, one of his girlfriends' sandwich on the floor? I think that was in Don Richards' lawsuit. I don't know if it was a sandwich, but it was some type of food, eggs, I think, that he threw on the floor because he didn't like how Cassie was talking to him, if I recall those allegations correctly. So I do think that maybe with how he's describing just any phone for any reason, with electronics, you do have to be very particular. And this is Diddy's motion, so there's no telling if they did kind of hone in and narrow those things that they were looking for in the phone. But of course, Diddy, in my opinion, is going to be dramatic and say they want everything. They want my life. They want me. Actually, that's why I'm in jail. They should let me out. No. Of course, in my opinion, I feel like he's being a bit dramatic and saying they want everything. But if it does come out that the warrants were not narrow enough, I think that they can narrow it without necessarily suppressing all evidence. So y'all let me know what y'all think about what Diddy has going on in this motion to suppress. Do you think that he should be able to suppress the evidence? Do you think that they needed to describe every single detail, although Diddy particularly says you don't have to describe every detail, but also use the details that I want y'all to use in getting these search warrants? And then he also mentions in there how they arrested his son and how that was embarrassing for his sons. And they did too much. They did too much is essentially what his argument is there. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the motion to dismiss. And of course, y'all know we are live. If you have comments, drop it in the chat. Let me know what y'all are thinking. If you're on the replay, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And let's see where we are. We are at 20 likes with 22 people watching live. So if you haven't already, please do hit the like button. It does help out the channel, help us grow, and help us get more friends to talk about all this nonsense that is going on in the legal world, I guess we could say. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to Diddy's motion to dismiss count 3 of his indictment, superseding indictment. Okay, so if y'all have been following Diddy's criminal cases for the last, what has it been, 5-6 months? Or if you want to start from March of last year when the raid started, yeah, almost a year. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm stuffy. I'm still kind of sick. Yeah, almost a year. Get it together, get it together. Almost a year. He got a superseded indictment, last month? And he's asking to get rid of count 3 of that indictment. And his argument is that no white person has been charged under this law. Yep, you heard it right. You heard it right. This should be dismissed because no white person has been charged under the law. And what is that called, class? A red herring. It's called a red herring. White people do it. I should be able to do it too. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. This is not DEI, bro. Diddy's like, man, Trump wanted to get rid of DEI. Let's get rid of DEI. Let's have some DEI when it comes to criminal prosecution. Is what Diddy's asking for. My opinion is only, right? Not only that, according to Diddy, white men and their partners also hire men escorts to participate with them. So he's also being judged, y'all, because he decided to hire male escorts instead of women. And sometimes he hired women, but that's okay. Diddy, prostitution is still illegal. Yeah. I know you can do escorts, but you guys are going to listen. We're going to read the whole thing on this one because if I could breathe, we're going to read the whole thing on this one because the amount of detail that he goes into to explain to us and justify to us why he should be able to hire male escorts in order to sexually satisfy his girlfriends. Remember, this is not a case of I didn't do it. Diddy is admitting to doing these things. He is just saying that these people agreed to do these things with me and they knew that the escorts were coming, okay? I don't agree. And I would be the first one to be pro-black, okay? But this, Diddy, for the second time Diddy has did this in his case. I forgot what the other one was, but he did it already. Oh, that was the liquor thing. It wasn't this case. It was the tequila case. The one thing that kind of spiraled all of this mess, right? Y'all are not selling my liquor. Y'all only selling my liquor to black people. Okay? He already pulled that race card. Now we're back in a criminal case and he's pulling the race card again. He should be free because the whites are free. Let me stop before I get kicked off the goddamn internet. Okay, let's go ahead and see his memorandum of law in support of the defendant Sean Combs' motion to dismiss count 3 of the superseding indictment because he's black. And there's no way they should have brought this against him because he's black, okay? Oh, it just feels very red herring to me. Like you're calling attention to what other people are doing to say that you're not guilty, right? So like when we're all speeding, when we don't all speed, but let's say there's about 4 people on the freeway and everyone's driving real fast. We're driving real fast, zoom, zoom, zoom. And me, I'm speedy. I am going 85, right? And the person ahead of me just shot past me. They're going 95. And then there's someone right next to me going like 83. And then there's another person with me going 85. And the cops say, hey, you know what? I like Bree's car. I'm going to pull her over. Zoom, zoom, zoom. You know why I pulled you over, miss? Yes. No, I don't know why you don't ever tell them why they pulled you over. Let them tell you. Let them come up with their lie. Okay. This is not legal advice, actually. So no, I don't know why you pulled me over, officer. Well, you were going 85 in a 65 speed zone. You're speeding. We're going to give you a ticket for speeding, especially because you don't know you were speeding. So you need a lesson taught to you. Yeah, but officer, like that other guy was going 95 and I know because they zoomed past me. And then the person, they were like driving tail and tail with me, you know, we were going the same speed. So they were definitely going 85. And the person that just passed, they was already going like 83. I had to like push on my gas to go faster in order to pass them. So why am I getting, you need to go catch all of them. They need a ticket. That is a red herring. We ain't talking about them. We're not talking about them. Just because what your mama say to you, if all your friends are jumping off a bridge, are you going to do it too? That's the question. What's the answer, class? It's no. It's no. You're not jumping off the bridge just because your friends are doing it. You're not speeding 85, 95, 100 miles per hour because the other people on the freeway are doing it. If you get caught, you get the consequences. And this is what Diddy's trying to do. He's trying to say, well, the white people do it, but it's wrong when the black people do it. Now, there are situations where that is true. Okay, I can give it to Diddy. But this one, I think this argument, you might want to sit this one out. I don't think this was the best argument. And again, probably one of the reasons why Anthony Riccor decided to leave the team, because you can't be doing this. And Anthony Riccor is black. So he probably was not the one suggesting this move. This case is unprecedented in many ways, but perhaps most notably and most disturbingly, no white person has ever been target of a remotely similar prosecution. And this is just as to count three. So he's not asking to remove the other 5 counts that's against him, but this particular one. And y'all, is interesting how he describes it. I'm telling y'all, I was in shock reading it. Sean Combs is an extraordinary, successful artist, businessman, philanthropist, and one of the most accomplished black people in the country. He started his first company, Bad Boy Entertainment, based on his vision for a new type of business headed by a young black executive, emphasizing black excellence and achievement. Over the ensuing decades, he forged a path-marking career consistent with his vision. He went on to create many businesses, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a television network, and media company with a strong reputation, operating in competitive industries and employing thousands of people around the globe. Yet the United States Attorney from the Southern District of New York accuses him of being a kingpin of a Ricco enterprise, essentially defined as Mr. Combs himself, and claims the purpose of this faux enterprise is to conduct his personal sex life with his girlfriends. Again, remember, he's not saying I didn't do these things, I didn't engage in these sexual activities with them. However, they were my girlfriends and they consented to it. Yeah, they're not saying that though. They don't agree with you, Diddy. So explain that, huh? Okay. There has never been a similar Ricco prosecution. It is true that many others who have achieved fame and fortune in the world of entertainment, Mr. Combs has his employees, staff, personal assistants, chef, bodyguards, and other associates that he lawfully employs for different purposes. It is also true that, like many other celebrities, Mr. Combs has had a complicated relationship with significant others, as well as with alcohol and drugs throughout his time in the spotlight. So, he's saying this is just a fluke. I broke up with them and they're trying to get revenge on me. Not only that, and since I'm in the spotlight, I too have problems with drugs and alcohol. I think it's interesting that he admitted that. I really do think it's interesting that he admitted that he had alcohol and drug problems. Interesting. I think that's going to go against him in the long run. So yeah, again, he's claiming this is consenting, but that doesn't make him a racketeer or a sex trafficker. And unlike any other cases involving similar charges, here there is no accusation that any of the girlfriends were minors. Thank you, Diddy. There's other accusations. I'm glad that you're patting yourself on the back for not sex trafficking minors. Yeah, I don't know if that's a really big accomplishment. Just because they haven't accused you of it yet criminally, you've definitely been accused of it civilly. So, yeah, Diddy, you're drawing attention to yourself, okay? Lucky for him, none of them were minors, or that Mr. Combs raped anyone. They are literally alleging that you're raping them. Are you not in the same case as we are in, Diddy? Instead, the government has concocted a criminal case based primarily on allegations that Mr. Combs and his 2 longtime girlfriends sometimes brought a third party, a male escort, into their sexual relationship. Diddy, have you ever thought maybe they didn't want to do that? You know? Maybe they didn't want to have sex with that man. Have you ever thought about that? Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Each of the 3 charges in the case were premised on the theory that this type of sexual activity is a federal crime. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm choking here. No white person has ever been charged with any of these offenses or similar allegations, but the most obvious evidence that Mr. Combs has been consciously singled out and selectively prosecuted because of his race is count 3, which charges a violation of the White Slave Traffic Act. The unusual theory of count 3, transporting escorts across state lines for purposes of prostitution, has never been brought before under this act, which has a long and troubling history as a statute with racist origins used to target Black men and supposedly protect white women from them. The use of the escorts, male or female, is commonly and indeed widely accepted in the American culture today, and the primary escort service at issue in this case is blank. He's letting us know where he does business. If you want to hire an escort, just unredact this document. You'll find out who Diddy uses for his escorts. Is a legitimate commercial business operating out in the open, frequently featured in popular media, including a long-running TV series. It is not uncommon for couples using such services to bring a third person, including, as alleged here, a man, across state lines and into their intimate relationship. So you're admitting to it. You're admitting to the sex trafficking count. How did he think this was going to blow over? How did he think this was going to blow over? You're essentially admitting to it. Yeah, I brought him across state lines, but it was just for fun. Prostitution is still illegal. It's still illegal, dude. Oh. I think he needs to read the statute. Maybe I need to read the statute. What does the statute say? Yeah, no other person, and certainly no white person, has ever previously been prosecuted under the White Slave Traffic Act for hiring male escorts from another state. Dude, you're admitting to it. Mr. Combs has been singled out because he is a powerful Black man, and he is being prosecuted for the conduct that regularly goes unpunished. Count 3 should be dismissed because this is a clear case of selective prosecution. Diddy is telling us, I did it and y'all didn't get that white guy for doing it. Dude, it was consensual. You still can't engage in prostitution. Like, what do you mean it was consensual? You cannot engage in prostitution. Prostitution is illegal. You can't do that. Look, y'all, he's gonna go deeper into it. Like, it's not, he's not gonna let up for us. He is going to continue to justify his behavior despite it being criminal. Okay. Count 3 of the superseded indictment, the White Slave Traffic Act count, alleges transportation to engage in prostitution. In violation of this code section, Count 3 alleges that from 2009 to 2004, Mr. Combs knowingly transported individuals in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individuals engage in prostitution. You admitted to it. And specifically female victims and commercial sex workers. Y'all, listen how he justifies this. The conduct at issue allegedly involves sexual activity by Mr. Combs and his adult girlfriends. This includes what the indictment describes as freak-offs, instances in which Mr. Combs and 2 of his girlfriends would bring a third person into their intimate relationships. The argument, Count 3 should be dismissed as an instance of selective prosecution. The act has a troubling history of racist enforcement, and although it might have originally come into play because of what he's about to describe, it's still a law. And I don't even think the girlfriends that he's talking about are white. And that's going to make sense in a moment. And when we get into what he says is the history of the law. Okay. So the law, now codified in 18 USC 2421, was enacted by Congress in 1910. Congress named the law the White Slave Traffic Act. It is now colloquially referred to as the Mann Act, after its author, James Robert Mann, no doubt as part of the collective effort to obscure the statute's racist origins. But those racist origins are plain enough. The statute was born out of a hysteria that white slavers were preying upon young women, coercing them into prostitution through threats, intimidation, and force. One of the bill's backers described here, one of the bill's backers described how he had read about a Negro, sorry, y'all, I didn't mean to say that on live stream, who had purchased a white wife when she was offered for sale in Chicago. He claimed that American-born girls from good homes were being tricked into prostitution and sold to all men who can pay the price: young men, old, clean or unclean, healthy or diseased, black or white. Representative man urged, apparently in all seriousness, that such white slave trafficking was worse than the country's history of chattel slavery. Okay. All of the horrors which have ever been urged, either truthfully or fancifully, against the black slave traffic pale into the insignificance as compared to the horrors of the so-called white slave traffic. Of course, there was little actual evidence that any such traffic exists. Congress nonetheless passed the Man's White Slave Traffic Act. What was racist in the inception has often been racist in its operation. The statute's target was black male sexuality, and from Jack Johnson to Chuck Berry, the statute's most notorious prosecutions targeted famous black men accused of deviant sexual behavior. This case continues the trend. In count 3, the government charges a violation of the act based on allegations that Mr. Combs transported male escorts from a legal escort service across state lines to have sex with his girlfriends. Yes, Diddy, you can have escorts. Escort service is not illegal, but you can't have sex with them, okay? Escorts are just to be there and look pretty, okay? Fill up your party, make everything look good. But once you cross the line into having sex with them, that's different. Now, I know a lot of people try to get around it by saying, oh, well, I paid you for your company for those 5 hours. You're just staying after. This is not overtime. I'm not paying you for the next part of this. It's where he's going to try to get away from it. But he doesn't deny that he hired them for the purpose of bringing him into the relationship with his partner. He could easily put into this motion that we hired him, but that was just for the daytime. He just decided to stay the night, and then we engaged in adult activities, not motivated by the money. He does not say that. He does not say that the activity is not motivated by the money. Of course, the activity is motivated by the money. There's no other option. So he's upset because this law came into play because they were allegedly in 1910 mad that black men were buying white women. This was when, interracial relationships were still not allowed. I'm sure they weren't running around buying white women. That just does not sound accurate to me, but whatever. This is what he's saying that the law is based on. But these girlfriends that he's talking about had these consensual relationships with these male escorts along with him. They're not white. So for him to argue that this is applying to him because he's black, and he named some other black people that potentially were prosecuted under this law, and just because they're not white, the law is being used only against black people. I don't know. I have a feeling that the prosecutor is going to come out with a bunch of cases where white people were prosecuted. I guarantee you they are going to come with a bunch of cases where white people were prosecuted under this law. Just because Diddy don't know them, though, that means it hasn't been done. I'm waiting for the prosecution to respond to this because it just sounds ridiculous. Focus on the freaking case. What's going on here? Okay. The charging decision in this case evinces impermissible bias. The discretion afforded to federal prosecutors in their charging decisions, while broad, is nonetheless subject to constitutional constraints. A charging decision may not be based on unjustifiable standards such as race, religion, or other arbitrary classification. Where a charging decision has a discriminatory effect and was motivated by discriminatory purposes, the charge is invalid and can be rejected by the judiciary. To show discriminatory effect, the defendant must show that similarly situated individuals of a different classification were not charged. In this case, that is easy. High-profile white men, including former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer, geez, put him out there like that, have engaged in similar conduct and were never charged under the act. Many couples, including wealthy, high-profile couples, involve third parties in their sexual relationships, sometimes implicit or explicit remuneration. I can never say that. But he goes on to say this Eliot Spitzer guy, who I'm going to assume is white, and he was engaged in the same conduct. But then he goes on to say many couples who are wealthy, they also engage in it and were never prosecuted. But he doesn't determine whether these many couples were also white or if they were a mix of races. So again, I don't think he's making his argument too strongly here. Such conduct has never been previously triggered by the man liability. So since Eliot Spitzer is doing it, Diddy should be able to do it. Hire escorts and have sex with them. No, this stream is probably going to get red flagged. I'm not bleeping out any words. I'm just reading exactly what's on the document. Thanks, Diddy. Okay. Nor have any similarly situated individuals been charged for using male escorts or male prostitutes. Count 3 of this case is partly based on Mr. Combs' occasional use of male escorts, including a service called Blank. The indictment alleges that he hired escorts using that service and that escorts crossed state lines to come to hotels where they had sex with women. But Blank is not some secretive underground operation that was previously unknown. It has been operating in the open for over a decade. It has a website and over 10,000 followers on X. As the company's own press page states, its operations have been featured in Playgirl, Glamour, Sheen, Hustler, Cosmopolitan, and Esquire magazine. The CEO actively courts media attention and has been repeatedly interviewed on national talk shows and the national news. You want them to go to jail too, Diddy? When we talk about snitches get stitches, bro, what are you doing? You're just saying everybody else does this stuff too. These whores need to go to jail too. If they didn't have the company, I couldn't hire them. Diddy, what are we doing? What are we doing? I see why Anthony Riccor got out of there. Because what are you talking about? If the company didn't exist and they operate out in the opening and they own Playboy and all these magazines, if they didn't exist, I couldn't hire them. Why are they not in trouble? Diddy, I think you're going to be banned from their website after this. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Oh my gosh. That is a horrible argument. Because, you know, there's people that sell CP, right? And so if you get caught with CP, you're going to out. If you're Diddy, for sure. If you're Diddy, you're going to out your source and say, well, they're the ones selling it. I wouldn't be able to buy it if it wasn't for them. That does not justify illegal activities. Just because someone else is doing it or someone else created a business doing it doesn't mean you are justified in doing it. You're not supposed to be breeding animals how certain people breed animals. And you want to say, if you get caught with that thing, I couldn't go to jail. If the breeders didn't have the business, I couldn't buy the dog. What are we doing here, Diddy? It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It does not get better. He's going to keep digging a freaking hole. Okay. In fact, Blank and its CEO have been regularly featured on the popular Showtime TV show Blank, which aired for 6 seasons. According to the CEO, the company's services have exploded in popularity because of all of this publicity. It is well known that escorts from Blank sometimes indeed regularly have sex with their clients. Doesn't mean it's legal. Does not mean it's legal, dude. Many companies does not explicitly advertise prostitution services, but nor does it forbid or discourage sex. While it does not advertise sex, you know why they don't advertise that, Diddy? because you're not supposed to be doing it when you hire the escort. Okay. Escorts are supposed to be companions. Okay. They're not supposed to be sex toys. Okay. So, what are we doing? I can't even get through it, y'all. I can't. I'm trying. So, they don't advertise it. It has said that anything that may or may not happen between escorts and a client is a matter of personal choice and personal preference because between two or more consenting adults. So you're telling me you're going to use their advertisement to say that it was okay to engage in prostitution because their website says it's okay. To call this an open secret would only be half correct, as it is not a secret. For example, the company's founder has admitted to consulting, I think they mean consenting adults, or I guess they're consulting with each other. When you're spending a lot of time with each other, things happen. I'm sure it happens. The two clients interviewed on ABC's Nightline admitted to having sex with their blank with the news crew cameras following one couple to their hotel room door. Doesn't mean it's legal. And the escort regularly and openly crosses state lines to provide their services. The company advertises blank located in cities around the country, including, of course, New York. And it offers travel packages around the country and around the world. Our men will travel worldwide with you if you request it. I see why Anthony Riccor left. You are admitting to committing crimes while simultaneously asking the court to dismiss the count. Why don't you just plead guilty to this count at this point? Dude, I see why he left. Because this was filed, the same day he filed to be relieved? No, he filed to be relieved on Friday. And this came out on Tuesday. This really pissed me off. I read it and I was like, this is stupid. And now I'm reading it again. And now I'm like, I see why Anthony left. Mr. Ricco, I see why you left. Whose idea was this? Okay. Let's get through it. We're almost done with it. Okay. So they travel across the world. It doesn't say they travel across the world to sleep with you, though. Let's peep that, Diddy. Okay. As far as the defense is aware, prior to this case, no one has ever previously been prosecuted for using the website. No federal prosecutor in this district or any other has targeted the company, its CEO, or its escort. So he's saying, shut down the company so I don't hire prostitutes. Did he? Nor has any prosecutor previously targeted any customer who purchased escort services from blank. Doesn't mean they're having sex with them because they bought escorts. Escorts, you're not supposed to have sex as an escort. You're just supposed to be there for fun. Fill space. Huh. Can we look up the definition of an escort after this? I think so. Thousands of customers have used blank over the last decades, including couples who have hired an escort who later has sex with the female, but none of those similarly situated individuals have ever been charged with the crime. And as you guys can see, it says that the escort will have sex with the female, not necessarily the man. So he still kind of saved himself to say that he's not the one actually sleeping with the man. In my opinion, that's what I read that as. Mr. Combs, a successful Black musician and businessman, is the first and only defendant ever to be charged under 2421 for hiring male escorts. This is a clear case where the defendant has been singled out for prosecution. Dude, so what? To show discriminatory purpose, a defendant must show that the government's charging decision was invidious or in bad faith based on impermissible considerations. Here, the fact that Mr. Combs is the first and only person ever charged for hiring escorts from blank or other similar publicly operated escort service is itself strong circumstantial evidence of discriminatory purpose. I'm rolling my eyes at this point. Beyond that, however, the government's handling of this case demonstrates bias and animus. It has gone out of its way to humiliate Mr. Combs and to prejudice the jury pool with pretrial publicity that plays on racist tropes. Dude, you're doing it yourself. You're doing this. Nobody told you to follow this. It has leaked damaging and oftentimes false material to the press. It refused Mr. Combs' offer to self-surrender. It raided his home with utterly unnecessary military-level force and forcibly detained and handcuffed his son. He's really heard about this. None of this was necessary and none of it was normal. Neither is what you're doing. Hiring escorts and having sex with them, prostitution is called illegal. Okay. It is precisely the sort of conduct that suggests bad faith racial animus. This prosecution is yet another instance of where 2421 has been invidiously deployed against a prominent Black man. Count 3 should be dismissed. Who filed this? In the alternative, and at a minimum, what is Diddy gonna do? What did I say he does? What did I say Diddy does? You should dismiss this, or the court should order a discovery regarding the government's charging decision. I need more information. I want to know why they did it. This time, he didn't ask for a hearing. He just asked for discovery on it. He needs more information. He needs to know why. You need to explain this to me, Puff Daddy. Explain it to him. He wants to know why. Why am I being charged, sir? Because your victims are complaining. That's how that works. You say that other people use the services. If their victims are not complaining, if they don't consider themselves as victims, right? Then you don't get in trouble because they don't have any evidence to put against you. But Diddy, you have victims that consider themselves as victims. Whether you're Black or you're white, maybe you should be mad at your victims for alleging these things against you. Or maybe you should be mad at yourself for doing these things to your victims and your victims not liking it. Yeah, that is a thing. You need victims and people to testify in order to bring charges against people. And you had victims. So either dismiss this or make them give me more make them give me more information. That's Diddy's MO. Give me all the information. I am not gonna focus and going through discovery. That's boring. Tell me why you're charging me. Tell me why you're charging me. Okay. So to obtain discovery on a selective prosecution, a defendant need only to produce some evidence of discriminatory effect and intent. In other words, a defendant satisfies the preliminary burden by adducing some evidence that similarly situated defendants of other races could have been prosecuted but were not. But where are their victims? Hello? Who do they have to testify against them? Where's the evidence? You're just saying this happened. How do you know it happened? You read an article online? You heard a rumor at your white parties that so-and-so does it, so you should do it too? Or are you telling me that they introduced you to it? So who could have been charged and were not charged? Who had victims and were not charged? What prostitutes were willing to testify against them? Because guess what? Diddy also has a sex worker that is a male sex worker that's testifying against him. That's willing to testify against him for this reason. You have to have people that's willing to testify against the people being charged. What is he talking about? I see why, god dang, Anthony got off this case. He is not signed on this document. Share Trema LLP is on here. Tinny Garagos or the Agnafilo. I think that's how you say that. Their firm is on there. And then you got Shapiro, Arado, and Batch on there. You know who's not on this? Crap. Anthony Riccor. I don't know if he's been on any of the other filings, but he for sure ain't on this filing. That was stupid. That was really, really dumb. I don't know what could have been going through the attorney's brain. I want you to dismiss this because I did it, but I'm Black. What do you mean You did it, but you're black, so dismiss it. What is this? I get it's Black History Month, but that's your reason? You admitted to it? You gotta plead guilty to that at this point. Your only defense is that you're black? Last time I checked, that's not a defense. It's not a defense. And that's probably what Anthony was trying to tell y'all. Anthony was trying to tell y'all it's not a defense to be black. What are you talking about? Because y'all want more information as to why Diddy was charged? You want to do more discovery on the government? Y'all already tried that in this whole raid sweep thingy. I think their goal is to just get evidence. I gotta look up this statute, y'all, so I can see what it says. Because I'm pretty sure prostitution is illegal. Let's see. Prostitution illegal. It is illegal in the vast majority of the United States. However, it is legal in some rural counties within the state of Nevada. It is also decriminalized in Maine. We are talking about in New York. So, yes, it's illegal in New York. Now, let's look up the statute that they're suing under, because I didn't actually read the statute. I just figured that Diddy wasn't this ridiculous. What was it? 2421, is it? 18 USC 2421. I think that was what it was. 2421. Okay. So that is it. What is the law? So let's check it out. Whoever knowingly transport any individual in interstate or foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States with intent that such individual engage in prostitution or in any sexual activity for which any person can be charged with a criminal offense or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 10 years. You just trying to take 10 years off, sir? And you admitted to this? Why would you admit to this? Why would you admit to it? Why would you admit to it? Request to prosecute violations by state attorney general. The attorney general shall grant a request by a state attorney general that a state or local attorney be cross-designated to prosecute a violation of this section unless the attorney general determines that granting the request would be undermined by administrative justice. A reason for denial: if the attorney general denies a request under paragraph 1, the attorney general shall submit to the state attorney general a detailed reason for the denial not later than 60 days after the date of which the request is received. So he wanted them to deny it, and then he wanted them to say, we're denying it because he's black. You can't do that. You literally cannot do that. Just like you cannot charge someone because they're black, you also cannot deny charging someone because they're black or white or whatever. But in Diddy's case, because they're black. I'm not laughing at the situation of what these people went through. I'm laughing at Diddy. I am. I'm laughing at him because why would you do this? I'm with Anthony Riccor. I'm off the case because this is stupid. Why did you just tell us y'all need to dismiss this count because yes, I did it, but I'm black and the law is racist? Sir, it sounds like you need to be lobbying to overturn the law. Like, I don't know. What? Your defense is that you're black, not that you didn't do it, not that you didn't pay these people, not that you didn't engage in sex with them, but that you're black? That's your defense? And it was consensual. You still paid someone for sex. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't do that. You can bring them. Like I said, you having a yacht party, you need more people to make it seem like your yacht party is really fun. You can bring them and they can stand there and be pretty and they can post videos and say, hey, look at me, I'm on your yacht. You can't then have sex with them. You can't provide them drugs. You might be able to give him some alcohol just to kind of, whatever, the vibes of the party. But you can't give him drugs. I'm done yelling at the computer screen tonight with Diddy. That really just pissed me off. Yes, I did it, but I'm Black, so I should be free. I can't. That this motion in particular, maybe not the motion to suppress, that one was annoying, but this motion in particular has to be why Anthony Riccor left. Because he told them, as the Black person on the team, I don't know if any of the other attorneys are Black, but I know he's Black. The Black person on the team, he said, we cannot file this. You are admitting to a crime, client. You're admitting to a crime. You're letting these lawyers, who I know some of them, at least some of them are not Black, letting them have you admit to a crime while simultaneously asking them to dismiss the count. Why would I dismiss the count and you just admitted to it? You just admitted to it. What are we doing? I want y'all to be right sometimes, defense. I really do. But you're not. You're not doing it. Let's see what the chat got to say. Because I know my chat has a lot more sense than these attorneys. I can't. I really can't. 28 likes, 22 people watching live. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit it. We can hit 30. We can hit 30. Okay. So Dustin B says, I definitely think Diddy is a bad client. I think Diddy is a bad client, but I also think he has bad other lawyers. After reading that for the second time, I always have a larger reaction when I'm reading on stream. I don't know why, but I definitely had a larger reaction to this than I did when I read it on my own. I think Diddy's a bad client, and I think his other attorneys are bad. They're doing bad. And yeah. Malpractice, anyone? I'm not saying they got a claim, but what? They ran this by Diddy, and Diddy was like, yep, that's what we going to. Remember when you tried to do that in that tequila one and you lost that deal? And then now all of this stuff has been coming out with you against you ever since that tequila lawsuit? You don't remember that? It didn't work for you then. It's not working for you now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Destiny B says Ricco probably doesn't want to be involved with the unethical behavior. Yeah, having your client admit to a crime and asking them to dismiss the crime because he's Black, yeah, that in my opinion is malpractice. It's normal for us celebrities to hire. So you are going with the narrative of that we are celebrities and we're higher than thou, and we can buy prostitutes and the regulars can't. The regular people cannot. You are not above the law. What are you talking about? It's normal for people with money to engage in this behavior. Who cares if it's normal? If all your friends are jumping off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge because it's normal behavior for all your friends? No, you are not. What are you talking about? What are we talking about here? Unethical, my opinion, malpractice. Who has their client admit to account before we're even going to trial? Like, you didn't even get a plea deal. What is going on? 10 years. 10 years is the sentence. Was it a minimum of 10 years or was it just maximum of 10 years? I think it was a maximum of 10 years. Not more than 10 years, maximum of 10 years. And he just admitted to it. Amber Dawn Rising, Diddy is smoked in my opinion. Yeah, they're smoking something. In my opinion. Gotta be smoking something, okay? Because ain't no way my clients try to admit to some stuff. Yeah, we're gonna have a long talking to. Don't give it to them. Make them prove it. And this is a criminal case. They have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Come on. And we're admitting to it? With all that money, Diddy, all that money you got? Oh, I didn't get my opinion. I don't think the count's going to be dismissed because he's Black. I don't. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have charged you. We forgot you're black. I'm sorry. Oops. Oops. Reparations? Like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? We're going to move this charge because, reparations. Diddy is making me want to cuss. What are you talking about? Destiny B says, I think so too, Amber Dawn. Who knows what other info they have that they haven't released? I don't know. Or I think I missed whatever chat you were responding to. Oh, about him being cooked. Yeah. And I think he's focusing on the little things. And I think that he is litigating the case in the media. I think that's what Diddy is trying to do. Destin B says, Monica Lewinsky kept the blue dress. Hey, got to get that DNA, okay? Get the DNA. Destin B says, Diddy is scrambling like a roach when the lights come on. He's trying any and everything to distract. It feels like it's a big distraction. And he doesn't want to focus on going through the mountains of discovery that he complained that he didn't have enough time to go through previously. But instead of doing your discovery, you came up with the idea that we are going to argue. It is freaking Black History Month. Okay. So we're going to argue that this law does not apply to me. What are you talking about? It's a federal law. Are we saying that the federal laws don't apply to you because you're a celebrity and because you're black? God dang. I need to become a celebrity. So laws don't apply to me either. That is crazy. When did they come up with that rule? Because I missed that one. Kimmy Locker says A$AP Rocky blurted something out during trial, so his attorney kicked him under the table to be quiet. I bet Diddy's lawyers are jealous as hell, especially since Rocky actually listened. Yeah. But I'm telling you, Diddy did not come up with this argument on his own. Somebody thought they were smart and they ran it past Diddy, and Diddy was like, that makes sense. Of course I'm a celebrity. We hire prostitutes. You know that trend that's like, of course I'm this. We do this. That's literally what he's doing. Of course I'm a black person. Of course I violate the laws. Is that what you want us to say? I'm a celebrity. Of course I violate the laws and hire prostitutes, even though I'm not supposed to, but everyone in my circle does it. Diddy, come on. I didn't see that. I didn't even watch the A$AP Rocky trial. I kept saying I was gonna catch up and then I didn't. Destiny B says, right, Diddy is more of an Amber Heard, LOL. He's causing so much problems. Like, he just needs to sit down. Kimmy Locker said, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's evidence in his bed. Yeah, it's coming out. I mean, of course he's a celebrity. Why wouldn't he do that? Duh, come on. We're gonna play the trend with Diddy at this point. No, don't play no trends with Diddy, okay? Don't play that. Because in his head, trends are hiring escorts and engaging with sexual activities with them later on in the night. So let's not follow any of Diddy's trends, okay? Essie says the self-snitching though, yes, and yes. That's what he's doing. Why? And my thing is, you had 3 attorneys' offices approve of this. Let me go back. He had 3 attorneys' offices consent to filing this document. And like I said, my other guy, his name is not on it. So motion to dismiss. We have, I think, all 5 attorneys, honestly. Okay, here we are. Okay. So we have Alexandra Shapiro, Jason Driscoll, that's 2. Then we have Mark Anafilio, I hope I'm saying that right, Tinny Garagos. What kind of name is that? That's 4. And then we got Anna Estevao, whatever, Anna. So 3 or 5 attorneys agreed to file this. I would not put my name on this. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Alexandra, the one that signed it. I would not put my name on that. I'm with Anthony Riccor. I'm out of here. What are you talking about? What are we talking about? I'm a celebrity and I'm black, so I can do this. Destin the B says right to Essie. Somebody call Bruce Rivers. Just a mess. Just a mess. Destin the B says, I think these are all Diddy's ideas and people do what they want because he's paying them. Ricco has standards. The man getting people off of death penalties? Come on. Come on. I think they said he also helped like the Unabomber or something. He was involved in that. Not helped them, but I think he was involved in that case and something else. I could be wrong, but I haven't looked all the way into him. But Diddy, yeah, you done messed up. You embarrassed this man. I'm telling you, it gotta be this filing. It has to be this filing. Because this is embarrassing. Ricco has standards. He's not gonna pull the black card as a defense. I've never, ever seen this in criminal court. Mind you, I'm not in criminal court all the time. Kimmy Locker says, right, destined to be an Essie. You think with all the money Diddy's spending on attorneys, they'd prevent self-snitching, not put it in a legal filing. Yes! And then say, yes, I did it, but dismiss the count. You're supposed to say it wasn't me. I didn't do that. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. But in the other one, he also said that the sex worker, which I'm assuming is one of these male escorts, is unreliable. Why don't you impeach him? But no, you want to tell me that, yeah, it's normal for me to hire prostitutes? Sounds like you should have a few more charges against you then. Yeah, it sounds like that. Mm-hmm. Destin Newby says it just shows his arrogance to Kimmy. And then Essie says, Kimmy, they really that paycheck. I guess Ricco had the right idea. Yeah, not enough money for me to pull the black card in court. There's not enough money. I had a client try to pull the black card. I had a client try to pull the black card in court and say the judge is ruling against me because I'm black. The judge was white, so I can see where he's coming from. I'm black, right? See where she's coming from. The husband was white, so she thought that the judge was being racist against her, because she was black and the husband was white and the other attorney was white and the judge was white. So they was all ganging up on her. Or, client, you're being accused of doing something bad and the judge is taking precaution. I don't think it's because you're black. I'm black and I'm in this court a lot with this judge and I've never had him rule, at least to my knowledge, rule against me or any of my other clients because I'm black. I think now there might still be some racist judges on the bench, but this particular judge, that has never crossed my mind with that particular judge. So it's interesting. And my client told me, hey, I think that this judge is against me because I'm black. And I didn't go, Your Honor, give my client custody of the kids, no visitation of husband, because he's white and she's black. She's black, so she deserves to take the kids. She knows how to do their hair or something. If my client has put that on my desk. Look, I'm black. They being racist against me. And you know what I didn't do? I did not file a declaration saying, yes, my client messed up. However, she's black, so let her free. Court adjourned. Court of freaking adjourned. Doesn't work like that. Justin to be said, it made me think of the movie CB4 when they said, I'm black, y'all, because I'm black and black. Yeah. Y'all cannot do this to me. I'm fighting for my life. Freaking R. Kelly up in here, dude. He's fighting for his life. Okay. As he said, not reparations. Gotta be. You gotta let them off. Reparations. My bad. You're black. Reparations. Let's let the case go. Let the case go. Kimmy had pulled a. I don't know. I might get copyrighted on this. There was I probably already screwed the stream up, honestly, because of all the words I'm not bleeping out at this point. So I guess we are going to go ahead and play at least a portion of it. They're gonna get me, but whatever. Whatever. Let me see. Where did we go? I need to reshare the screen. Unshare it and then reshare it. And then we want to do this one. This is what y'all wanted me to play. Let me know if y'all can hear it. Uh-oh. I gotta add it to the stage. Let me know if y'all can hear it. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. Y'all play too much. That's Diddy's defense. This is Diddy's defense. Y'all gonna get me kicked off YouTube for being racist against my own kind. Diddy, please stop. Just stop. I just want you to go through the case and prove yourself innocent. But that's going to be very, very, very hard when you've already come out and at least admitted to one of the 6 counts against you. Please prove yourself innocent. Like, let's focus on being proven innocent until proven guilty, okay? Or no, let the prosecution focus on proving you guilty instead of you admitting to being guilty, okay? Kimmy Luggett says they're treating the superseded indictment like a new season of I'm a Celebrity. Get out of here. Yes, it's a whole new show. What do you mean I can't hire prostitutes? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Did you have unrealistic expectation? You in jail. The crazy part about this whole Diddy and this motion to dismiss this 3rd count is if you look at the many, 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 many civil complaints filed against him, one of the first sentences in the introduction of the cases against Diddy is that Diddy believes he is above the law. And what did Diddy just demonstrate to us? He couldn't get on here and say, I'm Diddy, so don't charge me with this. Of course, I would hire prostitutes. I like that he focused on the male prostitutes, though. I thought that was interesting. What about the female ones? Like, you trying to tell us something, Diddy? They be calling you the diddler. I mean, a diddler diddles, I guess. Okay. He couldn't get on here and just say, I'm Diddy. Well, actually, he did. The opening paragraph was, I'm black, I'm successful, I'm black, and I'm proud. I'm gonna get kicked off YouTube. I need to stop. I'm black, successful, I own this, I own that, I'm great. I am above the law. But he couldn't go there because there was nothing to support that for him. So he pulls the black card. You are embarrassing me, okay? Diddy, you're embarrassing me. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't. And I'm really offended that you pulled the black card in court while simultaneously admitting to the crime that you're asking to be dismissed. Yep. Yeah. That's where we are. That's where we are with the law at this point. This to the B says Mark Garagos is a big name attorney too. Yes, I think so. But I don't have time to be knowing people. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm embarrassed. It's Black History Month. Diddy is blackity black, and he's allowed to hire prostitutes, escorts, And if he wants to diddle them after they escorted him to where he needed to go, he can diddle them because he is a celebrity and he's Black. And since the whites are not getting in trouble for it, neither should he. And that's his conclusion. So I know I talked all this mess and I didn't tie together why Anthony Riccor probably left. I am 98% convinced that filing right there of him admitting to a crime, the superseded indictment just came out last month. He's admitting to a crime and his defense is that I'm Black. I can't be racist. I can't be guilty, I'm Black. I can't be racist, I'm Black. I can't be charged with prostitution. I can't be charged with crimes because I'm going to use that. I should not be charged with crimes because I'm Black. And the criminal system, which although it may be partly true, is built against Black people. So I shouldn't be charged for any single crime. That's essentially what he's arguing. Black people essentially shouldn't be charged for any single crime because it's systematically, crimes and laws are systematically, they do affect Black people negatively. And this is one of them. And pretty much every law is one of them. I want to know how they came up with this. It was stupid. It was stupid. I'm embarrassed. I'm mad now. We are going to talk Reddit tomorrow because this was too much. This was entirely too much. My nose is stuffy. Kimmy Locker says, someone should tell them that Southern District of New York is on planet Earth and invite them to join us back down here. No. My guy is on planet blackity black, black, black. Okay. This was not the Black History flex I was hoping for. Okay. This is going to go down as the worst motion filed for a Black man during the month of Black History Month 2025. It's over. It's over, Diddy. It's over. It's over. If your attorneys are going to continue to argue the way that they're arguing, like I said earlier, I think that they keep missing the mark. They're constantly missing the mark. And this for sure was a missed mark. Absolutely. No question about it. I want to know how the court's going to rule on this. The prosecution is going to get up there and say, this is absurd. He's pulling the race card, y'all? How do you say that in legalese? We did not charge you because you're Black, sir. We charged you because you have victims that are willing to testify against you. Easily overcome. I think he's trying to litigate this thing in the media. I think it's going to backfire on him. I don't think this is going to well for him. I did not even mean for this live stream to be this long. And a lot of it has been on a rant of Diddy pissing me off, okay? Because this was embarrassing. And I'm pretty confident Anthony Riccor knew that people were going to be reading this indictment. And he motion to dismiss. And he not dare put his name on such ridiculousness. Yes, I committed a crime, but I shouldn't be charged because the white people get away with it and I'm Black. And so I should be able to get away with it too. Makes no sense. Thank you, Destined to Be. We hit 30 likes. Let's do a like goal. We haven't done that in forever to just like get our lives together. So if you guys are sensitive to loud noises, go ahead and turn your volume down because it is a loud explosion in the front. So we got to play it in 3, 2, and 1. We're going to say we reached our like goal. Shout out to the BriHive for hitting the like goal, y'all. Destiny B says, for sure, trying the case in the media. They keep talking about how the prosecution is going to prejudice him. I think he's prejudicing himself, or he is doing this so that it can get moved to a different county. I don't know. Tomorrow, y'all, we are going to be doing Reddit reads. If there is a topic you would like to cover, I know those ones are kind of hard. We're probably going to relate them to lawsuits again. And probably use friends. We've done sisters, we've done just family in general, and I think we're gonna go ahead and do friends. And maybe next time we'll do a boss. But yeah, we'll do Reddit reads tomorrow. Just kind of regroup, and then we are going to cover the Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit. It's a defamation lawsuit against Megan Thee Stallion is filing a defamation lawsuit against a YouTuber, and there has been some movement in that case. So we are going to introduce ourselves to that case and kind of get the facts going there. And if there are any other cases that y'all are interested in, please feel free to let me know by commenting under the video, dropping it in the chat, because the chat goes a little bit after I get off the live stream. Let me know what y'all would like to see next, and I will see y'all all on the next live stream, which will be tomorrow. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.